Laura Perrine. I had the VSG on 7/1/11, so 2011. I think I've always been a big child, and so I think the stigma of like you can't do certain things, even though I'm tall, I'm 6 foot, people would always ask me, oh, do you play basketball, do you play volleyball? I never did, but the fact that maybe they thought that I like couldn't, because they would just ask, I think because I'm tall, but I really in their face I could tell like, no, she's big, she doesn't play that. So just the stigma that comes with it. I first looked into it when I was probably 2 years before I had surgery, but for my insurance that I had, it didn't cover because I wasn't big enough at the time. So because of my height, I wasn't obese. But it was something that crossed my mind. It did come to me as something that I might want to do. I never really did any like Weight Watchers or any kind of plan, but I did try, you know, smaller portions and things like that. But it was just too hard to try and keep it up. But it wasn't anything that it was like, oh, I don't want to do it because people will think, you know, something bad about it. It was definitely an option because I knew I couldn't do it by myself. My mom died in 2009, and then my dad died in 2010.
Oh, wow.
And within the time of my mom and my dad dying, I gained 20 pounds. And they were not even within a year of each other. And at the time, my fiance, now my husband, had said, look, I want you to be there. Like, my parents saw me graduate, but they never saw me get married. They're never gonna see any grandkids. They're not gonna see the rest of my life because of obesity. They were both obese. And you know, my mom was a diabetic. She was on insulin. She had a heart attack. My dad had a heart attack. And so those were my aha moments, thinking that I wanna be there not only for my children, but also for my grandchildren.
Awesome.
Originally, I was gonna go with the lap band. I was gung-ho lap band, and then because I went through my insurance, they actually had a surgeon for me. And so I saw my insurance actually went through a surgeon down in Torrance, which is like 45 minutes from my house. So it was kind of like, I don't know. But when I met with him, he said that the lap band probably wouldn't work for me, only because of my size at the time. So the lap band isn't usually for women because they're more about the quality of food, like sweets and things like that. So I wasn't too into the idea of having the R&Y because I thought for my size at the time it was a little too extreme. And the sleeve was kind of like down the middle, and it was a good compromise between the two. I remember waking up saying, oh my God, what did I do to myself? The first you know, the first initial when I woke up. But it was a big change, definitely, especially how much I was gonna eat. You know, I would eat with friends and they'd be eating all this food and I'd be like, I want to eat a lot, but in my mind I knew I couldn't. So it was definitely a big change, but I'm glad, obviously glad that I did it. It was worth it, definitely worth it. Truthfully, as far as dying from having surgery, I wasn't that scared. I knew that I wasn't going to die in surgery, but complications were a consideration. I was worried down the line my sleeve was going to stretch, that I was going to go back to having a football-sized stomach and being able to eat a lot. But through the years, you know, being 3 years post-op, I have found that, you know, your stomach does stretch out, but it's never going to go back to the quantity of food that I used to be able to eat. But I really wasn't that worried about, like, you know, dying on the table. I think for the majority of people, their bodies can handle the surgery. And it's worth, like I said before, it's worth it. Definitely. I did have a support group through my insurance, through my surgeon. However, because it was so far away from my house and I would have to take like half days to go out to Torrance, the internet was really helpful to me. YouTube, Facebook. I think my surgery came along when that was really starting to boom and become alive, because I know it kind of started in 08, 09, but when I had my surgery it was like really getting popular, and so you know, the support groups online and watching videos, that has been a big help to me, and making those connections with people. The worst part, I want to say, was the like first 5 weeks having to go through liquids, and then like the opaque liquids and the mushy foods.
Yeah.
I was just like, I want a burger. I mean, really, that wasn't my first thought. I want a burger.
When I had Rowan 11 years ago, I was sent home on mushy food. It's like when I read about people having like clear liquid diets for weeks, and there was no, I had open, so there was no pre-op, like liquid diet, because I didn't need to shrink my liver.
Right.
So I like really feel for y'all.
Oh yeah, the liquid diet was probably the worst. I did have like bathroom issues, as I call it, constipation. That was really bad.
Yeah.
And the best part, I think, has been what I can do now that I couldn't have done before. You know, my husband was very active. He was hiking and doing all this stuff. Yeah. And now I'm surpassing him in that type of stuff. When I weighed less than my husband, that was like, I cried. That was such an aha moment when that happened. That was the best. I think people are more, it's kind of both. I feel like sometimes people see me as like this tall, skinny girl, so they don't want to talk to me. Yeah. As before, when I was bigger, it was kind of easier. I was more like softer, I guess. But also, I mean, of course, I do notice like the attention from men and stuff like that. But it's kind of both. I notice good and bad, I guess, between the two. Hiking is one.
That seems to be a theme with the people in California.
Yeah, it is. We've got beautiful areas to hike. Exercising, I never thought that I would. I mean, I wake up in the morning thinking, I need to go work out today. I never in my wildest dreams would ever wake up and think that. Yeah. And being able to like walk into a store and know that I can fit into clothes. I think that's another one. This is my first ObesityHelp conference. I heard about it online. I had known about the one in Anaheim last year, but I couldn't attend because I was in the process of having my reconstructive surgeries. And a big factor was it was in California. Yeah. And my aunt actually lives in Manhattan Beach, so we were able to stay with her. Oh, cool. So, but also I thought I had gone to other conferences through other, like the WSFA and things like that. So it was just nice to go to something different. You know, there's people here that I have met at the WSFA, but also new people that I have never met before.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.